there, everybody. Very welcome to the reading. If you're new here, my name's Shireen, and I thank you for joining us. If you are a repeat visitor, thank you very much for being here. As usual, my deep gratitude to all of you, and I want to just say to any of you who are watching that had to wait for your readings over the past 2 weeks, thank you very much. I've just not been feeling myself on and off health-wise, and I'm back on the road to recovery. I do hope. I've said that once before, but I'm pretty confident about it now. I just want to mention, if you are watching this at the time that it's being released, then please know that my last energy sessions for the year are on the Sunday, the 21st of December. That's the last I'll be doing for the year until further notice. I don't know when I will be starting readings again in the new year, and I don't know when I will be opening up bookings for energy sessions either. I'm kind of leaving that open-ended, and I will keep everybody informed closer to the time. All right, so readings are basically fully booked for this year. I don't have any space left. I finish with readings on the 19th of December, and the 21st is the last energy sessions that I will do. If you've booked energy sessions, then I will obviously give you your feedback still on the 22nd after that. I'm trying to decide if I want to use these Sacred Geometry Activation Oracle cards. I almost felt like I wanted to use that one for each day of the week. Let's start off with that. Let's see what happens. I usually use a tarot card, but let's see what happens. Okay, so I think I've mentioned everything I wanted to mention. I will still be doing not these readings, not the Monday week ahead readings, but I will still be doing the ad hoc channeled messages for whoever's meant to hear them at the time. They are released when I feel like doing them, when I feel called to do a reading, when I feel like there's a message for somebody, let me go and see what it is. That's when those will come out, and they'll be uploaded to YouTube whenever I feel the need to do them, or I have the time to do them. And yeah, we'll see what comes up for you. All right, so during the holidays I will still be doing that, and I will be around to wish everybody happy holidays wherever you follow me on Telegram, Reddit, YouTube. So thank you very much, and I will keep in touch. All right, let's get started. I'm going to pull 5 cards. I'm going to pull Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for this coming week to give us some guidance on the energy we're dealing with. And also any advice maybe on how to navigate that, or what we should be taking advantage of, or what we need to know. So let's see what comes up. Can I have a card for Monday, please? Fertility. The frequency of fertility invites us to be more open, more courageous, more creative, and more joyful than we were before. It activates the potential for something beautiful to grow from our consciousness into a new and grander expression of ourselves. That is quite lovely. All right, Tuesday, please. Let's see, what do we need to know for Tuesday? Thank you. Romantic love. Okay, so there's going to be some romantic love energy here for somebody on Tuesday. The frequency of romantic love supports our journey to feel whole and complete through the experience with the reflection of a conscious lover. Very interesting. Okay, if that doesn't pertain to you, maybe something's going to come up when I pull another card. So maybe that is that there's, I don't know enough about the astrology that's happening. Maybe there's some Venus stuff happening, or something like that in your chart, that there's a group, a collective group that's having some kind of shift in their romantic energy, their progress of the relationships. I always feel that there also could be, if we've got somebody who's a great friend that we really resonate with and who just gets us, I feel like that can also be that kind of elevated feeling of being in love. And it's not to confuse it with like falling in love with your best friend. I'm not trying to say that at all. But that can give the same kind of fulfillment in our lives in many ways. So it's not something to necessarily be dismissed. Okay, just get that into the frame a bit better. All right, what message for Wednesday, please? Change. Okay. The frequency of change supports our ability to gracefully dance with the forever changing nature of reality, both inward and outward, so that we can appreciate the sweet release of the old and the birth of the new. So it's talking about having flexibility, being malleable, being willing to open up to different things, try new things, believe in different possibilities, perhaps. So it's a time to not necessarily be rigid or too stuck in our ways or too fixed on a particular outcome either. I feel as if this is what the main message is here. Don't have too much rigidity. Don't resist change that you might experience on Wednesday. And for some of you, this is going to involve something to do with music. A song that you hear, maybe you need to dance a bit. Yeah, maybe there's even a message from a past loved one that comes through in a song or something along these lines that affirms what it is that you should be doing or the right decision to make or what direction to move in. That's very interesting. What goes with Thursday, please? Thank you. Macabre. Oh. Okay, this is an energy generator and is said to, you can use this in meditations as a vehicle to travel, to astral travel and stuff like this. So a lot of people imagine the macabre as a vehicle, like a little spaceship that you can move around with. This is interesting. It says the frequency of macabre supports our ability to use our consciousness to traverse, there we go, into other layers of reality and dimensions. Sorry, I didn't read this until now. It activates our access to our Akashic inheritance as well, merging the total of our experience into our present to serve our highest purpose. I'm going to read that again. The frequency of Merkaba supports our ability to use our consciousness to traverse into other layers of reality and dimensions. It activates our access to our Akashic inheritance as well, merging the totality of our experience into the present to serve our highest purpose. That is so interesting. There's your Merkaba. You can get these as little crystals and stuff too. And it's making reference here to the Akashic records and saying your Akashic records, which is basically the record of everything that's happened, everything that's currently happening, everything that will happen, possibilities and probabilities, and your history, as far back as your soul goes, is there in the Akashic records. It's out there in the ether. It's stored. Just like certain information and memories are not stored in our brain, they're stored outside of ourselves, but we are like receivers and transmitters. We can send information and we can receive information. We can get it through our senses and telepathically and psychically and in all different myriads of ways, and we can receive it as well. And that's in energy, and that information is out there in the ether that's available to us, and we just have to kind of learn how to reach out and access that information. So I don't know who needed to hear this, or who might be interested in maybe looking into the Akashic records or something along those lines. I do those kind of readings if anybody's interested. They will only open up in January. I mean, you can book them now, but I'll only have availability in January, and I'm not sure when, but perhaps at a later stage it might be something you want to look into if you haven't already, or maybe you already know something about your Akashic records and you want to give it a bit of thought and see how this can be appropriate. Maybe something that's come up in an Akashic records reading for you is going to reveal itself on Thursday. Who knows? With this kind of energy, anything is possible. And I feel like you need to open yourself up to change and possibilities on Wednesday in order to tap into these kind of energies. All very positive. I don't know if there are any necessarily negative cards in this deck, but this is all very positive. Okay, one card for Friday, 2, please. What's Friday's energy? Thank you. Solar plexus chakra. There's been a huge focus on this, and your heart chakra is coming up again from the bottom of the deck, which is pertaining to Tuesday's energy, which is that energy of the romantic love. These are both colors of the heart chakra. Love, forgiveness, heart healing, which means letting go of old anger and resentment and pain and suffering and heartbreak and all of this kind of thing, and opening our hearts up to other possibilities. And your heart has to be open to be doing this kind of work. You know, you see these are even looking a bit similar with the green circles there. Transition is the next card. I just had to show you that. This is so interesting because we are actually in the year of the snake. And it's all about shedding. It's about embracing change, embracing new things, embracing different versions of ourselves. Change and transformation. This is transition. Sorry, I'm skipping around, but I feel like I need to read this. The frequency of transition supports our deep understanding of the ever-changing nature of existence and our lives, so that we can learn to let go, surrender to the process, and allow transitions to occur with ease and grace. I think that's the overall message for the week. Bear that in mind. That's vitally important. So getting back to Friday's energy. Come on, be over there. This is the solar plexus. So your solar plexus sits just below your diaphragm there, that area. And this is our fiery kind of energy it ignites things like our fight or flight. It's where we get our strength of will from. It's where we get our energy from to do whatever it is that we need to do. It's where we muster energy from. Very close to your heart, which is the creator of your energy and your, humans are very special creatures because we can actually control how much energy we emit and how much energy we can create and put out there in the world. And we have the ability to strengthen our aura or our energy at certain times, to give off certain amounts of energy. We can increase that if we are aware of how to do it, and sometimes we do it unwillingly, but this is a very important energy center. It's like the sun within your body that keeps you going, keeps your energy high. It's your vitality, all of those things. It's a powerhouse. And there has been a lot of focus, which is what I started saying, around the solar plexus and activating that. And I've heard a lot about the solar plexus becoming unblocked, where people exercise their strength of will, they set good boundaries, they see through the illusions of other people. It says here, the frequency of the solar plexus chakra, the yellow flower of life, supports our sense of self, our personal power, and our willpower, as well as our knowing of who we are and what our contribution is to the whole. I really feel like there's going to be so much awakening and revelation in terms of our purpose, and people following not just a spiritual path, but being more in contact and more connected with their soul and what your soul actually wants and what you feel like you should be doing. Are you doing things that feel purposeful, and that's going to have more meaning than it perhaps has done in the past, where we're just doing all these superficial things and death scrolling and being preoccupied with other people's lives and celebrities and people who are famous for not even being famous. They're just famous for being famous, and not for actually making a significant and meaningful contribution to the world that is not all about them or narcissistic or self-serving. This is real power. This is exactly what real power is. Your willpower, your knowing of who you are and what your contribution is to the whole. Because we are brainwashed into being separate from people, separated from others, and we are conditioned to identify differences and not commonalities. We are conditioned to find things that segregate us, and that doesn't even stop at things like the first thing people think about is race or something like this. But within people of the same race, religion, creed, whatever it might be, they find further little pockets to separate us in. So if you are from a particular demographic, then there must be something else that separates you. Maybe it is what within your religion, what church you go to, who your pastor is. Maybe within that, it's also then, which of the kids go to a particular school and which go to the other school, and that's how you get judged. Then it goes to the next layer and the next layer until it's, oh, you have an iPhone and I have a Samsung. They bring focus onto things like that just creates more dissension between people. It just separates people more, and it's not what we should be doing. We should be doing this. We should be finding where our personal power is. How do we contribute to the whole? How do we connect? Because we're so disconnected, and that's why we're so miserable and why we're so tired. Okay, I was supposed to go on a tangent of some sort, apparently. Yes, I'm going to read this again. The frequency of transition supports our deep understanding of the ever-changing nature of existence and our lives, so that we can learn to let go, surrender to the process, and allow the transition to occur with ease and grace. I want you to also think about this on a bigger scale. There's transition happening in the world all the time. The earth is doing its thing. It's doing its thing that it's done for millions of years without any help or intervention from us. There have been ages that have come and gone. There have been civilizations that have come and gone with no help from us, no interference from us. Sometimes our interference is exactly the reason they are no longer around. So let go, surrender to the process. Work on not trying to control things. Allow the transition to occur within your own life and on a greater scale. All right, let's do a quick recap. So fertility for Monday, the frequency of fertility invites us to be more open, more courageous, more creative, and more joyful than we were before. It activates the potential for something beautiful to grow from our consciousness into a new and greater expression of ourselves. Tuesday says the frequency of romantic love supports our journey to feel whole and complete through experiences of reflection and a conscious lover. I think that can just be a conscious connection with someone who's conscious of how they treat us. What impact does that have? Is it reciprocal? Is it give and take? I just want to see one more card for anyone who this is not a romantic relationship for, please. Thank you. Okay, yes, this is this fiery energy. It's about being passionate, being willing to connect and drive and move forward and embrace. And I feel like also not be afraid to engage with certain people, but make sure that you do have those boundaries in place so that you're not attracting what you don't want to attract. Okay, some of it is up to us as well. It's easy for us to say, oh, well, this person was so mean to me, but what did we allow as well? And I'm not talking about extreme cases of abuse and things like this. Please don't get me wrong. I'm talking about letting people carry on and just push our boundaries and treat us badly until we eventually say, you know, how did I find myself in this situation? Go in with your boundaries. Know what you do and do not want, what you will and will not tolerate. And we learn those through relationships. It's very important. Wednesday, be willing to embrace change. Change supports our ability to gracefully dance with the forever changing nature of reality, both inward and outward, so that we can appreciate the sweet release of the old and the birth of the new. And then your macabre for Thursday, I think I went quite in depth. It supports our ability to use our consciousness to traverse into other layers of reality and dimensions. It activates our access to the Akashic inheritance as well, merging the totality of our experience into our present to serve us in our highest purpose. And Friday, the frequency of the solar plexus chakra, the yellow flower of life, supports our sense of self, our personal power and our willpower, as well as our knowing of who we are and what our contribution is to the whole. Heart chakra, everything is about the heart. All you need is love. You know that saying, the frequency of the heart chakra, the green flower of life, supports our capacity to love deeply and unconditionally. Its healing properties harmonize the mind and the body. Okay, we can love unconditionally. We can get to a place where we learn to not judge people for their shortcomings, because we are all just people. It doesn't mean that you have to hang around with that person or continue that relationship. You can lovingly release them because it's not good for you. But we don't know what their circumstances are. We don't know how they became that way. We don't know why they behave in a certain way. Maybe there are lessons that they still haven't learned that you have, and that's why you're not on the same level. All right, try not to judge, because we don't ever want to be judged, and we also make mistakes, and we also have hard lessons to learn, and don't always learn it the first time or the second time or the 10th time. So open up your hearts, open up the solar plexus, be willing to tap into that. Embrace this last month, because this is the last month of the year of the snake, where we shed the old versions of ourselves. Don't be afraid to become somebody new, to do something different, to maybe be more loving if you haven't been. Embrace change. This is the key. Do something different if you want different results. Sending you lots of love and wishing you a beautiful week ahead. Take care. Bye for now.